Hi guys, so we have another very important moment in this game here. So right here, the situation was that white ended up having a lot of territory, as we can see a little at the top, both of these corners up in the upper right and lower right, and black just does not have that much territory of his own, a little bit on the side here and here, and some potential here that might be pretty hard to convert into territory. So white has a pretty solid lead right now, and we're heading towards a point where all the groups are going to be settled. So right now was maybe black's last chance to really turn the tables here. So black had these 4 stones here, and in the game, he chose to protect here to prevent white's double Atari. But I think instead black had a chance to attack somewhere on the bottom, or at least cause some complications. So what if instead black, for example, peeped here to threaten to cut white off, and if white connects, then pushes through here, right? Because we don't really care about these 2 stones at the top. We only care about these triangled stones since they're the cutting stones. So we can easily sacrifice these other 2, as long as we get some compensation here. So if we push through and white blocks, then black can cut here. And we can see that even if white is able to live, black will probably be able to capture, will be able to capture 1 stone, for example, like this. And will be able to very severely attack white and make life for himself. And if white chooses not to block, but to let black through, then black should still be able to cut like this. Or if white blocks this way, then black can hane here. So it looks like this peep and push through would have been a good move for black to try and turn the tables here. But okay, let's go back and see how this happened. So we had a normal opening. White approached here. So in this like Kobayashi formation, even though the AI sometimes does it, it's not really standard for white to approach so closely. Personally, I like this Go Sagan move. Go Sagan loves to play this against the Kobayashi opening up here. And it's just a little bit softer, a little bit more distant. It's very hard for black to counterattack. If black just plays here, white can either leave this as a forcing exchange and just play away, or continue like this at some point later. And when white plays here, if black responds, then white can continue playing out the sequence and end up with a good formation like this. And if black plays here, then white can end up with a double approach. So I think this is something interesting to try. But this is still fine. And we ended up with this kind of old-fashioned sort of push and cut joseki here, which both players played very well, even though it's kind of a confusing sequence with a lot of variations here. So at this point, I thought there were a couple times where black could have played a bit more aggressively. So for example, what if black just double hanes here? White can't really cut and take the stone, and take the stone because black can easily just capture. So instead, we'll probably get a sequence like this where white will just force black out and black will get some great thickness towards the outside. So in the game, black just extended, which was fine. And even here, I believe black could just double hane. It kind of looks crazy because black has so many cutting points, but I think it's definitely possible. So if white just plays like this, for example, black can cut here, sacrifice, and just capture all these white stones. So clearly white cannot play this way. So white cannot cut and take the stone. So therefore, I think double hane would be a very good move here. Okay, so we ended up like this. I think maybe to protect, white should push, one more time here before playing here. Although this E10 move is a good move, it really locks down this black stone and makes this group very strong, and then there's a very good follow-up around C8 later. So black protected here, which is a good move in and of itself, but I think black could have gotten a bit more. So what if black first asks here at G16? So white has 2 choices, right, to connect or give up the stone. So if white, for example, gives up the stone, then black can connect for free. And this is obviously a lot better than just playing the tiger's mouth. If white refuses and just connects, then this turn here will be sente, because if white were to tanuki, black would be able to capture these white stones like this. So this cut is really an asking move, saying, do you want to let me connect for free, or do you want me to get this turn at m18 for free? So I think that would be better than just making the tiger's mouth here. And yet, this is a good follow-up here. Black did a good job settling his group in the lower left, and I like this push here. But actually, I think I might add another move. So this is kind of this crucial point that was lingering for a lot of the game, for either white to connect here, or later, after this, for black to try cutting here with something like this. And we can see that it's definitely, black could definitely do this fight. So this would have been a very good move for black. So to forestall it, I think white should have pushed one more time. And then maybe black would approach or something like that. Okay, and so black turned here, but again, we would like to see this cut first to see how black responds. White ignored it. And so black played here, but now white realized white could just give up the stone since black already has a wasted move. So we can see that black unfortunately ended up playing both of these moves. So black pincered here, but since there's so much invested in the corner, I would consider just playing something like this, something to value the corner a bit more. This one is okay, but it makes it so easy for white just to jump into the corner like this. And I'd be pretty worried about ending up over-concentrated as black, which is kind of what happened in the game. So if black took the corner for himself, I think that kind of would have prevented this. And yeah, as white, instead of counter-pincering, I would have just taken the corner here. So I think white should hane here. I think that's the best shape. So if white plays this way, in the game black played here, but what if instead black hanes like this? This would put a little bit more pressure on the white stones. And so even if white does live this way, black would end up with a lot of strength on the side. But black just extended, so I think black missed a bit of an opportunity to put some pressure with the hane at s17. And I think black played a few too many safety moves around here. So, okay, that move's good. This is possible, but unnecessary. So I would, again, as I was talking about, try this cut here at e8 to start a fight, and maybe attack this white group here. Or some other big moves, like this, doing something with this corner, or splitting the side. Any moves like that. But okay, white played there. And then I think this is really the culprit here, because black has already invested so many stones into the area. It feels very painful and inefficient to have to add this extra move. So I would really try maybe probing at the corner a bit and extending down, something like that. We just really want to break up this side. We don't want to give white the chance to play a move like this or like that. So yeah, I think this jump is just a little bit premature because the bottom is just so open here. So black split. This is all fine. And I think white was maybe like a little bit too concerned with black's moyo. There's still like a lot of ways of entering it. So for example, if white instead presses down here like this, even if let's say black still plays here, white can easily come into the moyo like this or like this. So I wouldn't be too concerned about it as white. I think white was a little too worried. Okay, I think that's good. And then instead of connecting, we want to be like a little bit more aggressive since white has so many stones. So what about just pressing on top? And the most aggressive move would be to extend here and just put pressure on black that way. White could also just play on top and let black live in exchange for a lot of thickness towards the outside. And maybe then follow up with this. So black played a good move here to connect. So I think this one might have been a bit of an overplay for black. What if black just plays on top and sacrifices the 2 stones in Sente? That would still give black a chance to hop out and play this cutting point. And now that black has so much strength on the outside, we could have a real fight here. And these 2 groups are still somewhat unsettled, as we can see. So I think that would have been a very interesting way for black to play. So black did end up wrecking some of white's territory, but this is just a very, very heavy group. It's a very heavy group, and the white stones have a lot more room to maneuver here. So I think this is where the game started to turn kind of bad for black, because black got saddled with this very heavy group. So this is a good move. This N9 is a good way of making Sabaki here, so I like that. We had this running fight. So white Tanuki'd here, but I would respond with the Hane, because what if black follows up here or cuts here now? And so now after this, this group would be, this group would be even weaker. So white would have no choice but to add some kind of move here, and we could easily have a serious attack from black. Or white could at least just try to get one move in Sente, and if black pulls back, then white can jump here, and this is just a good exchange for white to have. And yeah, I think black should have either followed up or cut here, like I was talking about before. So these stones are getting attacked pretty severely right now. So black did finally push out here, but instead I would have gone this way. Like I was saying, I think it's just a better way to cut. We could have this, maybe the peep and the Hane here. This could be pretty big, because these white stones are totally sealed in now. So I think black has a good chance of a counterattack and to at least get a lot of points, even though the cut around here is gone for black. So black played here. And when white cut here, I think this was actually a little bit too aggressive. White is leading right now, so there isn't any reason to cause these kinds of complications. So what if white just extends? We don't really care if black connects. White can just take the stone here. And this is good enough, right? White has plenty of points on the side, in the upper right, a little bit here, and now a good chunk here as well. And we can see that black doesn't have much at all. And this Hane here is starting to weaken these 2 black stones. So I think white could be satisfied just with this extension, as opposed to causing complications with this cut. And so now we're back to the situation I started with at the beginning of the review. So in the game after black connected here, we had this forcing sequence. After white protects, there isn't really much of a follow-up for black. We can see that white just has too much territory and these 2 stones are weak. And so that's why white was able to hold on to the win. But as we can see, if instead of being so worried about his own group and these 2 stones, black had instead focused on some of white's weaknesses, I think there was a good chance for a counterattack here. And so what I was talking about was this peep, and then this push through right here. And so we saw that if white blocks, black can just cut and end up capturing a lot of white stones. If white just lets black through, then black can easily come through this way. Or if white blocks here, then black can cut this way. So I think this would have been a good opportunity for black. So I would say in terms of black's mistakes, so missing this one here, I think black should have really asked with this move before connecting to see if black could either get this hanging connection or this turn for free. Black missed a chance to sort of put some pressure on white, and then added this safety move right around here. But I think both players waited far too long to follow up in this triangled area to play either white's extension or black's Kama here. It's just so big to either separate these two groups or connect these two groups. So I think both players should have been more focused on that. Although both players did play this upper left Joseki very well, and we ended up with a very reasonable result. But I think black did have a few sort of like underplays where black could have played some more severe moves. And probably both players missed a chance to play down here earlier. I think both players were a little bit too focused on this moyo up at the top. And as we can see from how professionals play, it's just so hard to make a lot of territory with these moyos, because even if you get a move like this, white can just so easily come in some other way. And, you know, there isn't really any easy way to attack this one stone, and protecting like this becomes very, very painful because you get so over-concentrated. So it's just hard to make territory that way, and it's just a lot easier to make territory like this, or to make a moyo on the side, or something like that. So I think both players should have focused a little bit more towards that. And yeah, and so as a result, white was able to win this game. So I hope this review was helpful, and please let me know if you have any questions. Thank you.